All right.
Sounds good.
Tonight so far it's Jamie and I, but we're going to talk about this chapter because it's a pretty great chapter. And this is in phase 3 of the journey. So we've got our weight to a healthy place, and now we worked on our habits of health. We talked about several different things there, and now we're going to optimize our health, because once we get the basics down, oh, here comes Sandy, that'll be great. Once we get the basics down, then we are going to be ready to move beyond that, because, most of us don't think beyond losing weight. Do you think? I think, it talks about,
I agree.
Yeah, we just think, okay, we've lost our weight, and that's when I think that's what undermines our long-term success, is we stop at the weight loss, because then we really, if we've made some changes in our habits for a period of time, then maybe we forget, and the old stuff starts creeping back, because really that's what we're around, most of us. And that's what we've been doing for a long, long time. I mean, I didn't start this till I was in my 50s, so I had 50 years of grounded into poor habits. So I have to keep on top of it, and the only way to do that is to work beyond the weight loss. So anyway, we're talking about chapter 19 tonight. Did you have anything you wanted to add there, Jamie? Hi, Sandy. I don't hear you, but hopefully
I agree.
Nothing? Okay. All right.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So inflammation, the chapter 19 is on inflammation. And I know that every once in a while I will go on the 5-in-1 plan just to realign my body. And the first thing I notice that goes away is inflammation when I do that, even if I do it for a week or two. And it's just really something we don't even think about. And he talks about inflammation. It says it trickles inflammatory molecules into your blood in quantities so small they can only be detected through a special test. And he does talk about that special test. And I'm not sure I've ever had that done. Have you guys had that? The CP, what is it? Where is that? CRP test?
CRP?
C-reactive protein test.
No.
I might have. I just didn't know what it meant, and I didn't know what. So I think next time I go in for my physical, I'm going to ask about that, because man, it impacts a lot of things. And if you're, there must be something I'm not doing. This inflammation chapter talks about a lot of different things. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
We were afraid it was just going to be the two of us today, and you're just going to hear our words of wisdom. So
I don't really have any, so.
Well, you jump in if you think of something or something strikes you, because we're just talking about that chapter 19, inflammation.
Okay.
And he talks about here, this book is about 10 years old, and I was just listening to Dr. Andersen speak today, and in the next quarter, they're working on the update. So you think about all the science that they have gotten since this came out. He's going to update this book, and it'll be a great revision. So right now, in here he talks about they're only beginning to understand the magnitude of the effect that chronically elevated immune system has on our body. And my guess is there's some science and some studies that have since really supported that. So, and there'll be some different things in there. I think that's really, really cool. So, anything in that first part that struck you, Jamie or Sarah?
Yeah, on page 230, that where it talks about the continual production of inflammatory markers is relentlessly aging our organs and us prematurely. That one hit me.
I know. He said in there that the human longevity could stretch to 150 years or more, which is really interesting. You think about biblical people in the Bible, they talked about being very, very old. I mean, way older than that, but, easily, still having children, I don't know, in their 80s and 90s. I don't know about that, but,
Yeah.
but, what has our lifestyle done to our, our inflammation that maybe has slowed us down from living longer? So just really interesting.
Mhm.
It talks about inflammation, a key player in heart disease, up at the top in the little green box on page 231. Chronic inflammation. It plays a major role in the development of heart disease. They used to talk a lot about really focus on the cholesterol and the triglycerides. And you know what? We still hear that, but how often do we hear about inflammation? I mean, my husband naturally has really high cholesterol. It's kind of just, he's always had high cholesterol, higher than they want him to have. And they always, are trying to get him to take some kind of medication for that, but they never talk about that inflammation. And, that's the first thing we talk about is what, especially if we're carrying weight around our stomach, that a lot of that is inflammation and impacting our organs. So really interesting.
Terry.
Mm-hmm.
I also, when I first read it, I liked about really how it talked about our immune system, and that it's our personal 24/7 emergency service, and it's the most complex system in the body. And so when it's working well, it works like it's supposed to, and it does good things. But then he makes the comment that it also has a darker side. And that it can all too easily turn on its master, and that's when we have the inflammation and the things that are actually attacking our organs and doing more damage to them than they are good. And I thought that was interesting, because a lot of times we don't think about what's going on inside our bodies. We think about the weight because we can see that, but I remember reading something too once that said your body has already, the damage is being done, but you don't notice it until now your body, you see that you've gained a lot of weight. Well, your body's already been, struggling and doing things on the inside that you didn't see, but now your body's telling you, hey, look at me. And that's like our sign to, okay, we need to do something. But so, yeah, you don't think about what's going on the inside.
I know. I was talking to a gal today. I was sharing a little bit about the program that I coach. And I was saying, when I was young, really up until about 32, I was skinny. I was quite thin. And actually up until I had my first daughter, I probably was underweight, but I was not healthy. And I remember thinking it was hilarious because just about every day for lunch, I had a chocolate cupcake and a glass of chocolate milk. That was my lunch every day. And then, of course, after our activities of the day, a friend and I would always have a bag of Doritos and Mountain Dew. And I'm thinking, man, I was like really setting myself up. Sooner or later, that's going to get to you. You're going to pay for that. So, it was interesting talking about the immune system and the things that impact that. The rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. There's a whole list. The geointestinal system. So many people are struggling with, with different aspects of Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, inflammatory bowel disease. Those things. A lot of people are really being impacted by that. So. Just seems like everybody I know has something in there. And as we get older, people are worried about their eyesight, macular degeneration. That's impacted by inflammation. And your body over a lifetime, you're killing yourself just by not taking advantage of that. How you doing, Sandy? I can see you.
Doing pretty good. Got out of the hole, so we're up on the hill now.
Oh, good. All right. Okay, so let's just keep going. We talk about, he talked about inflammation being spurred by internal, external, and the foods we eat. So there's more than just what we eat that impacts our lives. He's got a nice chart on page 232 about free radicals and oxidative stress. If you've taken a look at that, there's a lot of things to look at. External environment, how important it is for stress. And that's one of the things I've been talking with my clients a lot lately. I think you and I talked about it, Jamie, didn't we, about meditation?
Yeah.
And one of the things one of my friends was saying is that she tells people when you go into the bathroom and you sit down, because many people, that's the only time they have any time by themselves, is to take 5 to 10 deep breaths while you're sitting she says, are you breathing on the pot? Is what she says. And, taking those nice deep breaths, because you can that makes such a difference. Even that, it doesn't have to be a big formal thing. Though I know Jamie has an app she shared with me about meditation. I found a podcast that has different meditations for different things. Like if you're just taking a break from work, there's a short one. There's one that you do while you're walking. There's one that you do, there's several, different things. If you're suffering from anxiety or, just feeling really stressed out, they have different things for that. So if anyone's ever interested in either of those things, Jamie and I have those resources. But getting that deep breath will help with your stress. And right now, that's one of the things that it says is impacting us, on top of chemicals and toxins, allergens, too much UV and radiation. So some things we don't have a lot of control over. We do the best we can, but we can reduce our stress if we can. Anything else you want to add to that, ladies? We've talked about food. Go ahead, Sandy.
I was surprised by, things you don't even think about, and I guess that's why we're reading it, is I didn't even think about the dry cleaning bags. I used it to I left it in the closet to cover my husband's suit,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Who knew?
Yeah, just different things that you don't even think about. That was interesting. Yeah. That environmental stuff. It said on, I'm going to just skip over one section and we'll come back. But if you go into 236 and it talks about the environment, it talks about not walking across your lawn in your bare feet if you're using pesticides and herbicides, and then not bringing it into your house. I don't like to walk around barefoot, but a lot of people walk around barefoot all summer long, And then that's where Sandy, on 237 is where Sandy found the information about the substance in dry cleaning bags. And actually, he doesn't like dry cleaning. And it's interesting.
No.
Not many people use dry cleaning anymore, but there's certain things that say they're supposed to be dry cleaned, and we tend to do that. He talks about using a HEPA filter. Does anybody do that? Does anybody have HEPA filters in there? I know we got one for our furnace, and we just put a new furnace in. You can get a HEPA filter and put it, I think, in just about any furnace. And it helps take out toxins. And then the thing about the water supply, what do you guys do for that? Do you drink bottled water or filter your water, or what do you guys do?
I drink bottled water a lot.
Do ya?
And I refill up my bottles. I've heard that's bad.
I think the bottles break down. It probably depends on the kind of bottle that you have. But
I refill every single one of them.
oh, do you? Do you
Yep.
get double duty? So do you filter the water? You put it back in them, Sarah?
No, and a lot of times I'll put them in the freezer even.
Oh, sure.
We have a reverse system.
Oh, do you? What do you think?
We've had it for years, like 9 years. I love it. We really hardly ever get sick, so I think maybe it's the water we drink. I don't know.
There you go. So now, okay, because he talks about that. He talks about the reverse osmosis system. How does that work? Does it just go into your, do you have a special faucet in your sink for just drinking water, or does it go through your regular faucet?
No, we actually have a whole house system. We bought it when we lived in Missouri because the water was so hard and it had so much stuff in it, and I just didn't feel comfortable using it, and so we spent quite a bit of money on it. Well, we ended up bringing it with us when we moved to Iowa. So when we built our house, we put it in. It's 2 tanks. It runs the water through like a carbon filtration system, and then it has a water softener on it as well. But we've never had any issues with it. It's supposed to last for 25 years. So.
Yeah, we're talking about whether we should add a water softener because the water is very hard here. But that might be a great thing to add on top of it.
So, Jamie, do you have to change the filters in that or anything?
Nope, we add salt to it. That's all we have to do. It's it's a water softener and a filtration system. Now, I haven't had our water tested, but it takes all the chlorine and the fluoride and everything out of the water too. But it tastes, I mean, there's no taste to it. And that's what they say you want with water. You want no taste. So if you, I don't know, you can taste the chlorine in city water. I can't.
Yeah, I could in Lenox. We had a filter on our, we've had a filter on our faucet or our refrigerator there. And that's where we get our.
How often do you have to add salt to it?
Well, you know, I'm kind of bad about adding salt. I can kind of tell when it's out, but and another reason why we bought it was to actually protect our appliances in our house and our faucets and things from, you know, getting that corrosion that builds up on them. So I don't know. It's been a good investment for us. I would, if something happens to this one, I would want to put another one in.
Well, it's nice that you could move it. I thought that was attached to the house. Yeah, that's awesome.
Nope.
All right, let's move on a little bit because we're almost at, we've only got 10 more minutes, but I'm looking after the water is noise. Do we ever think about noise, how that impacts us? It says, it talks about having noise all the time. And I've actually heard that sometimes we need to step away from having earbuds on all the time, listening to things all the time and that sort of thing, that it's a great thing to have some quiet time so our brain can kind of settle down. But he does talk about that, not all noise is bad, and that if you sing or play an instrument or just listen to music, that can lower your immune activating cytokines and increase your level of relaxing endorphins. Yeah. Well, that's good. So, is anybody a musician or a singer? You aren't, Sarah? For some reason, I was thinking you were a musician.
No, not even a little bit. I did it on the weekends. I used to do auctions, and I cannot hear. And I think the reason why I did and I think it was a lot of that noise pollution, is because it would bounce around in my trailer. Mm-hmm. And I think I did it for so long, and I really think I'm deaf from it, actually.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Well, now you don't have to worry about the noise so much then.
Right. Right. Bonus.
You got to look at the bright side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It lists several other things in there that are probably pretty things that we try to avoid. I thought de-stress your job. That one was interesting. You can do that. But exercise was in there, and it says getting sufficient exercise is probably the single most effective way to lower your inflammatory state, counteract stress, and decrease your CRP level. So we talked about that last time. So getting, regular exercise, and it doesn't have to be a ton. I also heard a podcast today where the gal was talking about all the studies they've done about brain research in exercise, and just 20 minutes a day, how much that helps to reset your brain so you can think clearer. And so this is also saying, I'm sure that contributes to your lower stress with your job and that kind of thing. So get out and be with people. I'm kind of a homebody, and it's really easy for me to just stay at home. And I'm really starting to realize that that's not healthy for me, because I can be really reclusive, and I'm thinking, someday I'm going to turn into this cat woman or something, and I don't want to do that. So, and do you guys see anything else in there that kind of struck you?
The being out in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I love to be outside. That's like my peaceful time. If I need to get away and de-stress, I go outside and listen to the birds. I love that.
Mm-hmm. I know. Do you do that too, Sarah?
I agree. I definitely, that's the best time for me too.
I had been inside most of the day today doing, this and that little chores, and I thought, I'm going to go out and sit in a chair and do some of my stuff outside, and it was really nice. It's a beautiful day, not too hot. Yeah. You just need to get out. Just smell the air. You're right. Listen to the birds. That just really helps. It goes into breathing deeply on page 241. The other thing I want... Go ahead. Someone say something? Okay. The other thing I wanted to go...
I just said the breathing was interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was. Talked about different kinds of breathing. I know that when I do yoga, I use a particular... I use Yoga with Adrienne on YouTube, and she talks a lot about breathing during that, and it's really important. But I thought the inhalation to exhalation ratio of 1 to 2 was interesting. So you breathe in and you exhale twice as long as you breathe out. So that's a great exercise. I think Sandy's trying to talk to us. Oh, there she goes. I want to talk just a minute, and maybe, I don't know, Jamie, maybe you want to talk about this a little bit, is that stop, challenge, choose on page 241. And it's a strategy that you can use for so many things. It really helps it just helps in a lot of different ways. I mean, anytime that you're stressed or you're, feeling overly emotional, or you're feeling ready to make a decision that's going to take you off the path of, your healthy path that you're trying to get to, it talks about that. Do you want to talk about that, Jamie, or you want me to? Stop, challenge, choose.
I'm really delayed, so maybe too.
All right. I don't know, maybe I'm the one that's delayed, but anyway. So it really talks about stopping. We're on page 241. Stopping before responding. And it says we react so much. And it says all too often our response is to lash out at whoever's created the situation. So, a lot of times when we feel really high emotion, just stop and take that deep breath. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then challenge yourself. Why do I feel this way? Why do I, do I really want that hunk of chocolate cake? Why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling stressed? That sort of thing. Just really ask yourself why you're doing it. And what's going on. And then it says to choose your ideal outcome. And so this is the time where you take a deep breath and you think about, okay, really, what do I want to accomplish? You know, I want better health. I want, and think about the reasons why you want those things, how that's going to change your life. So really, you know, this, you know, that choose part where you kind of, you know, you choose the ideal outcome, whether you're going to lose your temper with someone, you know, choose the ideal outcome. If I lash out at this person, is that going to give me my ideal outcome? And just taking that minute to back away really helps. Plus, it helps with your stress. So, but that's another reason, you know, if you're working on your health, particularly going back to that, or you're working on a relationship, anything, really sitting down and kind of writing a few reasons why you're doing that. Why is this important? Why do I want, you know, why do I want better health? Or why do I want to improve my relationship? What is that going to do for me or us or, you know, my family? So that Stop Challenge Choose is a great resource, and we use it in a lot of different things. It's really useful. Anything else anybody wants to add? Let's just take a second, and you know, we just got a couple of minutes, and go back to the pages on the eating. It talks about processed food. It talks about eating low glycemic foods. I'm on page 234. And, you know, eating low glycemic, you know, that's really what Dr. Andersen promotes. And there's different charts in here that help you with choosing well for the glycemic index. Fruits and vegetables, it says to choose, especially those that are red, orange, or yellow. I got these little peppers at the grocery store, and I made a little vegetable tray, and those are so delicious. You just slice those up in little pieces, and you can, you know, I made a little dill sauce to go with them, but they were delicious, you know, and they're orange, yellow, and red. So there's a great one. So it just talks about having vitamin C, carotenoids. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but which are in pumpkin, red, yellow pepper, sweet potato, tangerines, carrots, apricots, cantaloupe, squash are in a lot of things. So, and vitamin C, you know, those kind of things are anti-inflammatory. And then it was interesting, the anti-inflammatory fats. I was a little annoyed that my butter was not in the anti-inflammatory. So, you know, choosing well there. Choosing with the omega-3s. There's some great charts in here, so take a look at those. But the good news is, if you look on page 236, you can eat dark chocolate is a good source of, how do you say that? Catechins, at least 70%.
I don't know.
And actually, it talks about herbs, and there is I meant to bring it, but I have a tea. It's an herbal tea that I get, and it has turmeric, and what else does it have in it? It's really good. I get it at Trader Joe's. I'll put a picture of it on our group, but you can drink some of that, and that really helps. You know, that's one thing that is supposed to be great, an anti-inflammatory food, and it's just a nice cup of tea. I thought I need to make it and see if it would be good iced, because I don't, you know, it's kind of nice to have something different. It has some natural sweetener to it, so that's really fun. All right. Any other comments? We're at the 7:30 mark.
Nope.
All right, so what are we going to read next week? What do you think, Jamie? The next 2 or 1?
Well, chapter 20 talks about all of the vitamins and minerals and It's about optimizing your life at any age. It's really long.
Okay.
I don't know how much discussion that we want to have on those things. Otherwise, I was thinking it is long. We could do 20 and 21, but 21 is talking about taking the stress out of your life, and it's pretty long too. So maybe just do chapter 20.
Do you want to just have people skim 20 and go to 21? And focus on 21, or do you want to do each individually?
Yeah, we could do that and have more discussion on chapter 21.
So just skim over chapter 20 because it's full of vitamins, it's full of science.
Let's do both, 20 and 21.
Okay. Yeah. So just it's a lot of reading, but it'll be good. It's bioflavonoids. It's got some great information in it.
Yeah.
So we'll do 20 and 21 on next Monday. And so it was great seeing you all. I hope you're having a great day. And post any comments or questions you have in the Facebook group. And we will see you next week. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Sarah. Bye, Sandy. Bye, Jamie.